I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Maharos, and we're back with another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to be talking all about what's happening in the market. It's the beautiful month of Ramadan, so I want to keep this video short and sweet for you guys. But without further ado, let's jump right in, right? So we saw BTC run all the way up to $73,000, right? So an amazing run. This whole rally to the upside has been crazy, and it's been very fun to watch all this play out, right? So again, right now we're watching, price action float right here. And ironically enough, guys, this is why I love trading demand zones. Because as you can see, this is a 3-week demand zone. And again, you can even write supply here as well. Technically, right now, it's not a supply nor a demand. Now, at the same time, we have rejected here at this level. This wick has definitely caught a lot of people with their pants down. So will the buyers here get punished? Do we end up going lower? Well, we don't know yet, but what I can tell you right now is that usually resistances do not break on the first try. So we're going to see how much of a pullback takes place here. And in the meantime, we're probably going to see price chop here for a little while. And right now we are seeing a retest at this level. So we'll see what happens. Again, you did see clear divergence here on the way up. So again, nice ride to the upside, retesting support here for 65K. We may bounce a little bit, but I do think that we're probably going to continue chopping at this level. And then probably maybe even going lower. So I'm ready for 52K. And again, I don't know if we would get 52K, but I definitely could see a good reason why we do, simply because, again, it would make a lot of sense in terms of seeing the speed and velocity of this move to the upside, and then seeing a nice drawdown to continue going back higher, right? Like, I think it would make for a healthier trend to see something like that continues the trend in such a way like I have drawn. And again, it's just because of the proportion of how long each rally takes. Again, if you were to if I was explaining it, guys, it's just as simple as seeing this rally take 142 days, and then the correction takes what? How long? 170 days approximately, guys. I'm just randomly pulling time frames here. And then the next rally takes, I don't know, 153 days. What you can expect is we're probably going to retrace for at least 153 days if this is the beginning of the correction. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but this has to go sideways or chop for a little while, the same way that we chopped at this level, right? After seeing a rally. It's only normal. Now, again, it doesn't need to, right? Because what we've seen in the past is that once the rally starts for Bitcoin, it doesn't really stop and it just trends all the way up to the upside. And then we have some sort of distribution schematic where, again, this may not be a complete distribution schematic, but we see some sort of topping signal. And this was like an ending diagonal that we saw for Bitcoin in 2021. And again, 2018, we just saw a blow off top and then a retrace that kind of finished off alt season right at the top of this level around 17K. And so we don't know how the market is going to finish, but again, we've seen all types of scenarios play out. And again, it's just important to see this because I do believe that a retracement is underway, but how long does it end up playing? That's going to be a different question that, we're going to have to wait and see, right? And a lot of people have it twisted, right? Like, you don't need to know every single movement of every single market in trading on the fucking 1 hour. What the fuck are people? People be literally sitting here trying to figure out what's happening here. Stop wasting your time on that, right? Look at the high time frames because that's how I've been able to be so accurate. That's how we call the bottom here on Bitcoin at 15K, and how we were able to say that this level is a resistance. And I do believe we're going to get a retracement unless the market does something other than that. Then I'm still going to have that bias, right? So that's pretty much the TA here for BTC. 52K is my first target here, unless we have some strong support here at 63 or 60,000. If we're able to hold this level and do a very good job, then guess what? Then maybe it does hold above this level and never does end up coming to 52K. We'll just have to see what happens, right? Because at the end of the day, this pattern right here that we watched, this is like I want to say a simple pattern or a complex pattern, right? In Elliott wave, there's basically a 5-wave cycle, and basically the whole entire 5-wave cycle, there's 2 corrections, right? 4 and 2 alternate, and basically what you see is that complex corrections usually go sideways, and simple corrections end up going down, like some sort of zigzag that may go like this, and then probably ends up going up again. Not to make this video too complicated, but the idea is that the corrections are not going to be the same. They're meant to trick you. And because of that, you just kind of have to look at what's happening, right? And again, this whole market has been tricky since the beginning, right? Because for the first time in Bitcoin history, we saw 16K being hit, or 16K target being hit in 2022. And that's never happened in Bitcoin history, right? That's never happened here. We pretty much saw an all-time high being tapped. We saw a double top being formed. Bitcoin dominance didn't reclaim the bear market. Like a lot of things that happened in this cycle are just out of the ordinary, hitting an all-time high before the halving. Like so many things are just not normal, right? So I definitely am not looking for similar patterns, but there are things that always will like never change, right? So moving on to total, guys, I spent too much time on Bitcoin, but it's just so important to understand what's happening with Bitcoin. But looking at total, guys, I've warned you guys on total, guys, that we were gonna jump, right? So this is all the way back in March 5th. I said, guys, be careful. And guess what? Pretty much you do see price running up here. And then guess what happens? We get a nice wick. Now, of course, if you ended up not seeing this, then that's okay. You should like and subscribe or follow me on Twitter if you want. But the idea here is that because of this resistance, again, resistances do not break on the first try, especially in the weekly time frame. There's going to be a reset, right? Because when you're running a marathon, you always need to take a breath, right? So when you run, you take a breath. Like same way that we saw down here, we saw a run up, take a breath, go sideways, and then gather our momentum to run up again. And what you can see is that the length of these moves are getting longer. So that means there's still juice in this run up. And what I want to see here is some sort of retracement, something healthy to come back down and give us that momentum to go even higher, right? So retracements are not bad, right? They're very, very healthy because again, it's like running, right? If you just keep running without breathing, you're gonna collapse, right? So it's the same thing here. I want to see a retrace, and this is again an if-then scenario, right? If we get to this green box, that's a very, very good sign to buy, right? So like basically, I plotted out this area. This is a level of support. And the reason why is simply because of two reasons. This is basically a previous supply zone. And again, because of it being a supply, it flips, right? Like every other support resistance, it usually flips around into a support or resistance. And because we broke above it, we're probably going to hold at that level. And the other thing here that has confluence is this 8 EMA, right? So the 8 EMA does a great job of acting as a support and a trend. And you can see that very clearly since we've broken out here, we've held this area very, very strong. And guess what? You're pretty much seeing the momentum run to the upside. We're probably going to graze this level back. So that's another, like, what? How much more of a correction? Like, guys, this is going to be painful. 13% correction. The market is going to bleed most likely even more. But it's good to be prepared. Again, I know most of us don't want to hear that. But guess what? If you're not looking to actually, be prepared for all scenarios, then you should not be even in this market because you're going to get wrecked, right? But at the same time, it is important to just understand that, yes, we did run into resistance here. And we're probably going to see a bigger retrace here. But where is the next resistance point, right? Or support level, right? Because, yes, we broke down here. Where do we stop, right? Like, where is the point of, consolidation? Because none of these levels here, like, this is, just like a pattern that we saw multiple bearish divergences here. We haven't even seen a breakdown like that. It's like signs of a bottom, basically. Like this is not a sign of a bottom at all, guys. Right? Like this right here, this breakdown, this is clearly not a sign of a bottom. This looks like there's more momentum here. The volume is increasing. RSI is not displaying any signs of bullish momentum here, right? Maybe you can make the argument for, oh no, you can't even. There's not even hidden bullish divergence anywhere, right? I mean, technically maybe from this level, but it's probably going to wick up what you already did, and that probably resolved. But the idea here is that this is probably going to keep dumping here, and a good level of support will probably be 2.138. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be very interesting to play out. But I will say on the weekly, this is very strong momentum, right? So I do think this continues to go higher. I do think Bitcoin dominance is probably the next thing that we want to focus on. And this is what I have shared recently. So basically, this is a very nice chart because it's very, very easy to understand. You have your resistances, right? Like we saw back here in 2021. And then you have the current level that we're at, which is double resistance up here. And we're probably going to see this breakdown, right? So this is very, very important because, again, a lot of people are not really interested in Bitcoin simply because the returns are not as, not as big. So we'll see exactly what happens here. But I do believe this is probably going to break down because it's such a strong resistance at this level. And as you can see, the momentum here is slowing down, right? Like you see this candle, it moves a lot at once. And then you have two candles that retrace, and you have one candle here, a second candle here, to try to keep the same momentum up, but there's not really that much momentum. So the idea here is that the momentum is being lost for Bitcoin. Can it go higher? Absolutely it can. But the idea is like we're losing momentum here. And so I'm just playing this level by level, and I do believe this is probably going to break down. And when it does, you want to be positioned in altcoins because the money's going to rotate out of BTC into alts. And again, I know a lot of people are saying that the Bitcoin ETF is taking a lot of money away from altcoins because these people are buying ETFs and not buying altcoins, but money always finds its way to the markets. And you got to think about these ETF buyers, right? If they're buying things like Bitcoin, what are they most likely to buy? Things that are easy to understand. So look at the top 10, try to think about what they would buy, or top 100, things that are easy to buy even on Coinbase. And then maybe you can position yourself very nicely, right? So we'll see what happens, but this is very, very interesting to me that we're probably going to break down. And I want to share why I knew the breakdown was going to take place. So I tweeted this out. Most likely time for a bigger correction. Get ready to deploy stables 1 to 3 weeks for a reset, right? So I tweeted that out, and moments later, the market started dipping really badly, guys. And the reason why I was able to know that is simply because of this chart right here, guys. So this is all stable coins by dominance. And what you can see here is that this level that I have drawn, like this box, is basically a level of support, or a level of how should I say this? Let's just keep a level of support. But basically in between this level, you know, there's a lot of price action, right? And, when you look at this on the daily, you can see clearly 4 days ago that this had multiple divergences. This is breaking down, and you could see clearly that this was going to break out. So that's why I was so confident that we were going to break out. And even right now, guys, this does not look like it's going to slow down. Like this looks like it's going to go higher here, right? It's probably going to chop and go even higher. And this is a level that I'm looking to probably say, okay, now we can flip back bullish for buying alts, and maybe Bitcoin continues to go up from there. But at this level, we're probably going to see this start dropping, right? So the question remains, right? When we get up here, is it actually going to be time for alt season? Because the last time this happened, guys, something very interesting took place, which is over here. This alt season took place from from January to May, and it was basically like a chop season here for stablecoin dominance. So the question remains, right? Like if this starts chopping at this area between this blue box, then that means that like we might not get a crazy all-time high for Bitcoin, right? Like this may just continue chopping at this level, right? Like this may just continue going like this, right? And then maybe even correct. Who knows? That's assuming that we stay in this blue box, because again, the same way like we saw over here in 2021 alt season, we saw stablecoin dominance chopping in between this box, is the same thing we might see here for Bitcoin, right? And that's, again, how I was able to catch this whole entire move before it happened. And so again, because it's so bullish, I just don't see a reason why you would think that this correction is over. I think we have a lot of rooms to go up here. So that is obviously very bearish. Like I think we go up another 14%, which makes perfect sense. Because again, when you look at total, we have another 13% to go down from the level that I believe we're going to get to, which is looking here on the weekly. You can see here that the box that I have drawn is around 12%, 13%, right? So around 14% here drop, and around 14% increase here. So like that's how I'm able to come up with that target there. And I do think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So again, it's going to be very fun to watch, and I'm excited because while we are able to catch these moves, it's important that we act on them as well, right? Because, what the hell's the point of all this, right? What the hell's the point of being in this market, doing all this TA if we're not going to act on it? So I position myself with stables, bought a little bit. I'm going to probably buy even more when I do see some sort of like topping structure here. But I do believe we're going to run all the way up to 6.6% on DOM for stablecoins. And if we don't, then let's see what happens. Because again, this is why I do the weekly updates, is because if we don't see like price come up to here and get rejected, then maybe we're probably going to see price chop here and then like show signs of weakness that it probably wants to break down, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So again, it's just a game of patience, and we have to see what exactly is developing in the market. And when we look at even at ETH, guys, this is a very nice pullback that we're seeing here. Like, this is pretty much your old resistance level. We're literally retesting it. Like, this is very nice. XRP also had a nice breakout, but it turned into a massive wick, which is not very good. But again, the reason why this massive wick took place was because, again, we saw it hit this BTC low. And I do think that if this chops at this level, we're going to get ready for a massive breakout, which has already kind of happened. But RSI looks very good here on the weekly time frame. So will we keep some sort of momentum? I don't know. But we are retesting back at the support right here, guys. So this is your new support level. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. So again, I mean, all this stuff is very, very straightforward, guys. Do not overcomplicate the simple stuff. I didn't even get to go over that many altcoins, but, you know, stick with me on Twitter, guys. Follow me here at Mo Hodl so that you don't miss any updates. And I'm going to let you guys know next week if it's time to really see the market flip to the upside here. Because, again, right now, there's no reason to be super bullish. I do think a big correction is underway. We were already right on the first correction here taking place. We have to see how this develops before getting bullish again, because the market is absolutely crazy, and this market is sometimes unpredictable. But there are indicators like we caught here to see exactly what is happening. So with that, I appreciate you guys making it to the end. Like and subscribe because it really helps the channel. And as always, hodl, hodl, hodl. Peace.